Could you be any more awkward? Yeah, I love it. Okay. So, what we're going to be doing today is talking about tips and tricks for Disney World. A lot of people want to know both tips and tricks and specific must-dos at Disney World, but it's too much to put into one video, so we're going to split them out and do a kind of a little mini series. So, tips and tricks. Very first thing I would recommend is making sure you build into your schedule that you need to be flexible. Being flexible, not like bendy kind of flexible.
I'm not bendy.
Not that kind of flexible. Flexible with your scheduling because you have kids. And even if you don't have kids, even if you're going on an adult trip, spontaneous things need to be able to happen on vacation. And just know that if something throws your plan off track, it's okay. You can still have a great time. Along with being flexible, I think that time is the most important thing. What do you think about time?
Me?
Yeah.
I think you have a superhuman ability to, when it comes to Disney, to not sleep.
I'm
It's
only a morning
up at
person
6
at
a.m.
Disney. That's true.
And up till midnight. And I don't know if you do sleep. I nap everywhere we go, on every other ride, and I sleep as soon as we get home. And still,
So,
I've never seen you sleep.
and the reason why is because I know how important those morning hours are at Disney. The two best times in your Disney park day is first thing when the park's opening, which if you're getting there before the posted opening, you're going to be doing well. Especially right now, they've been opening earlier than posted time, so that works out well. But you're going to get on more rides in less time if you're there right at the beginning. Also, with those things is how important the closing time is, because you can actually get on a ride right up until closing time. So if the park says it's closing at 8:00, then you can get in line at 8:00. Not at 8:01, but up until closing time, you can join that queue and you will get to ride that ride.
Even if it's got like an hour and a half long line, they will still let you go through the whole thing and ride it.
Yeah, and we've done that a lot with like some of our favorites to close the park on. And that's the other thing is if you get into those late night rides, then when you get off that ride, then those parks are closed and they've emptied out a lot. And so you'll get really good picture opportunities. Mm-hmm. But we've done it with Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Mm-hmm. We've done it with Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, Space Mountain. A Flight of Passage is a great one for that one. Flight of Passage. So those big rides that tend to have really long lines during the day, if you're just like, we can't do standing in line for an hour, hour and a half, save it for right before you are leaving. But if that's what your plan is, make sure you prioritize getting there. Because if you're going to put one of those must-do rides at the end of your night, you don't want to miss it.
Well, so then maybe have it be your second or third time that you want to reride
it
at the end of the night. That would be my recommendation.
Yeah,
as a reride at the end.
Yeah, and if you get to the park early enough, you could get in those must-do rides that we're going to talk about later, about in those early hours.
Well, think about this. Like, so if you get in that line at the end, you're in line for one of two things. You're either in line to get onto the bus or tram to go back home.
With everyone else,
with everybody else, or be in line to go ride the ride. And then when you get off, you're not in line with anybody else. And you get to go straight back faster.
Yeah, because the after the park trams run until the park is empty. It's usually an hour or two after the park closes.
And I might say one of the worst things in the world is that end of tram, everybody piled up, everyone's exhausted, they're ready to go to sleep, waiting in line is by far the worst of them all. So if you can avoid that, I think you'll have a better experience.
Yeah, I agree. And taking your time when you're leaving the park. Don't be in a rush to get to the tram. You're just going to get to the tram and wait in line, whether you're trying to get to your car or get back to your resort. Like, take your time, walk through the park or the shops, or stroll down Main Street at a slower pace. I think all of those are good uses of your time to avoid that end of night line. Yeah, we've done that and it's exhausting.
And then the next day, if you know you're going to stay out a late night, maybe make the next day not the early rise one and do it on a lighter park where there's not as much, like Animal Kingdom.
Or a park that opens later. Like sometimes Epcot doesn't open until 11 o'clock. So if you're at a park until 11 o'clock, because say Magic Kingdom closed late, then planning on going to the next day doing Epcot would be a good choice because you can sleep in and still be early to get those extra hours.
Happy kids.
two most important things to kids: sleep
Food.
and food. Food might be even number one. Like,
I think food's
if
number
you
one.
have a grumpy kid,
Food.
give them food, and don't in your budget make room for food. Like,
Yeah.
don't try to skimp on food. If you need to bring in snacks in your backpack, Disney lets you. So pack your backpack with snacks, and that's not just for
And
littles.
drinks. And drinks too. They don't stop that stuff.
Yeah, well, as long as it's not alcohol.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
You
yeah,
can't bring in glass bottles, and you can't bring in a hard-sided cooler, but you can bring in, you could stop at 7-Eleven if you had your own car. Go to 7-Eleven, get a big, large drink to put on your stroller, and
Walk through the park.
walk through the park with it. They'll let you bring that in. Or bring in water bottles. You
Lots of water bottles.
need to make sure that you're staying hydrated, because it's
I highly recommend get those the juice fill-in things like that, change the flavor, because the park's water taste.
kind of blah.
Yeah, it's not GG.
That's fair. Okay, so moving away from time, or we can even stay on time, is
back.
using your time in the park for the middle of the day. Be smart with your middle of the day time. The middle of the day, the lines are the longest, and we're talking the middle of the day is like 1 o'clock in the afternoon to 5 o'clock at night, dinner time.
Yeah,
Right?
That's when most people
It's-
start coming in.
It's
Well,
the hottest time. It's when the most people are in the park,
Yes.
because the morning people are still there, and the people who are coming for the night
Are
are
coming
also
in.
coming in. So those middle of the day, if you're going to stay in the park, use that time to do things that are not going to be standing in line all day.
yeah.
Things
Avoid
like
crowds.
in Magic Kingdom, going to Tom Sawyer Island during
Mm-hmm.
that time is a great. Go be in the shade. They have some fun games that you can play out on Tom Sawyer Island. Do things that don't have long lines, like
Carousel of Progress.
Carousel of Progress is a really good one. Tiki Room would be a good
Greatest nap
midday.
place of all time. Get the
Places you-
corners. Lay your head on the corner. The thunder wakes you up at the end, no matter what. It's easy.
That's great.
I'm not spoken
Not
from experience.
not
at
speaking
all.
from experience.
Maybe 100
And
times.
while you're waiting for the short amount of line, or right after you get out of the Tiki Room, you could grab a Dole Whip and cool off.
Or two.
Oh, the Kakamora. Mm-hmm. Kakamora. Or we just tried the orange one at the Sunshine Tree Terrace.
Just outside.
Just right, not too far from it.
Yeah.
Orange Dole Whip. It's delightful. Okay. So let's move on from time.
People Movers is a great midday get out of the heat.
Yeah, I agree. So there's actually, you want to do a get out of the heat at each park?
Yeah, might as well. We just got a
Okay.
couple minutes.
So we've given a couple at Magic Kingdom. Philhar Magic is another one that's great at Magic Kingdom to get out of the heat. Any other ones you can think of?
Oh, one quick trick. When you're going to and everywhere, walk through the buildings because they're always air conditioned. It's just a quick way to get out of the heat, cool yourself off. Every shop is really cold.
And most of those shops are connected to each other.
Yeah,
It's not
so you
like you
can
have
bounce through
to.
all of them.
You can go through like Main Street. You could enter the shop clear at the one end, and then they're all connected more or less. I mean, there's a couple like that force you to go outside and then go back in. But for the most part, you could walk down all of Main Street through the Emporium. The Emporium takes up the bulk of Main Street. So
Mm-hmm.
you could be in air conditioned. I mean, granted, you might be tempted to buy things, but at least you're out of the
It's a
heat.
good trade-off.
Good trade-off, yeah.
So you jump over to Animal Kingdom.
Okay, so Animal Kingdom, good places to get out of the heat. There are lots of little pavilions that you can sit in that you could grab a Mickey bar or an ice cream sandwich, and cavalcades will go by. That's been a really good option. You could get in line and do a Bug's Life. I would not get in line for a Bug's Life, though, if there is longer than a 20-minute wait.
Yeah. a good trade-off.
There's a really good amount of seeing the Tree of Life, and it's the best way to see the details in the Tree of Life. You want to get down there and see the
Yeah,
details.
because it
It is
goes under
remarkable.
the tree. It's in the shade. It's dark. It's just it's cool.
Yeah. And then the other thing I love about Animal Kingdom getting cooled off is the shows. So you could go into, once Nemo comes back.
Or Lion King.
Lion King is back. So you can go to the Lion King show. That's a great place to cool off. Look at your maps to see, your app to see when those things are happening.
Another cool off spot is the conservation station.
Oh, the conservation station. You take the train back to it,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can do the art animation station back there,
Mm-hmm.
where you learn how to draw a Disney character. So that's a great place to go, and you're out of the heat. You can go back there and look at what it takes to take care of the animals, and it's an all inside venue, so
Yeah.
it's a good escape from the heat. Good.
Yep.
What about Magic Kingdom, or sorry, Hollywood Studios?
Hollywood Studios.
I like the basically everything in Hollywood Studios is inside, which is cool. The line for Toy Story Mania is all inside. I mean, you're outside for a little bit, but then you're inside. But if you really want to cool off, I think that the Frozen show is a great one. And
great.
there is a show about Walt Disney that you can go into. You can learn about the history of Walt Disney.
Do they still have the Drew Carey hair cutting?
No, they replaced that with what did they? The Mickey shorts. That's a great one.
That's a really good.
That's
place.
a really good one. The kids are entertained. They might fall asleep. You might fall asleep. And if somebody doesn't fall asleep, the shorts are really cute. And I actually recommend going and seeing those shorts before you see Minnie and Mickey's.
Ariel's a great one for cooling off because it's in the dark. It's cool.
Ariel where?
The Ariel show.
Oh, the Ariel show, once it comes back.
Yeah.
It's not back yet. But agreed. There is an Ariel show that's a great place to cool off. The Playhouse Disney is inside, that if your little one just needs to get out of their stroller, that one's a good one to be inside for. But you do have to stand outside until you get let in for that. So what's where you can go and meet the Star Wars characters?
In that back section.
They actually were using it as a face mask relaxation station, but with face masks being released or reduced, that would be a great place to even just go see cool Star Wars memorabilia.
Yeah. Over on Epcot, a good one is Spaceship Earth.
Spaceship Earth gets you out of the line is
a
usually pretty
long
short, but the
ride.
ride itself is a pretty long ride. It's dark and it's cool.
The best is by far is Soaring, because it's in that massive building. You can do Soarin', you can do
Living with the Land.
Living
with the Land never
You
has a
get
long
food.
line, and it's a great ride. And then right next door is the aquarium area.
and go into
The Nemo ride never has a long line.
Yep. And
The whole
it's-
line's
you spend
inside.
hours in there.
And you could go see all of the huge aquariums, see the sharks, the stingrays, the hidden Mickey in the rock. Oh, speaking of hidden Mickey.
Oh yeah. Got to do the Hidden Mickey
Hidden
books.
Mickey book. So a recommendation is, if you don't know what a hidden Mickey is, it is strategically placed Mickey head shapes throughout Disney World.
Well, they have other characters too.
Once in a while, you'll see other characters, but the most common is you'll see the classic 3 circles, right? The big circle and then the 2 ear circles for hidden Mickey Mouses. Do you have a favorite hidden Mickey?
Yeah, I think I'd Feel Her Magic, the one that's like in the trumpet.
Okay.
It's literally set into the little framing. I think that one's probably my favorite.
I love the one in the aquarium, in the rocks of the
Yeah, that's a
aquarium.
good one too.
However, I think my favorite one is on Haunted Mansion, in the plates in the ghost scene on the table.
So my favorite is actually, now I think about it, the one is in California Adventure on Indiana Jones. When you go in that first room, the Temple of Doom, you look over your left shoulder. There's a skeleton wearing Mickey Mouse ears.
That's fun.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So there's actually books. Just get on Amazon and look for hidden
Couple
Mickey
bucks.
books. I think it's usually about $15 for the book,
Yeah.
but it'll keep your family entertained, and it's good in every park. So all of the parks will have hidden
There's
Mickeys.
lots of them.
Yeah. Okay. What about snacks? So if you didn't catch the tip that I posted last week, there is a popcorn bucket that is refillable. You can buy it for about $12. If you buy it on the first day of your trip, you can buy it at any park, and then you refill it. They'll refill it for you for the entire time for $2. Our
Each time.
kids, $2 per refill, and that's $2 flat. That includes your tax. It's a really good way that when somebody's feeling a little bit hungry and you're not quite ready for your sit-down reservation, or it's not quite time to eat yet, you can just grab a box of popcorn, have them refill it for $2, and it can get you a little bit of time without having to break the bank.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and the kids love it, and especially because Disney popcorn is the best popcorn on earth. I'm pretty sure they sprinkle pixie dust of some kind of addictive something on
Okay.
it. Okay, you want to make sure you're bringing some kind of battery pack for your phone.
Yeah.
You're going to be on your phone more than you are typical day to day, and so your phone's battery is going to drain quickly. We use something called a fuel rod. We actually have 3 of them. They have machines throughout the park that you can just go to the machine, scan your fuel rod, pop it in, and then it pops out a fresh battery. However, the fuel rods do not charge your phone fully. It gives me about a 1/3 of my battery charge. But so it's not going to be a big one, but having some kind of battery bank that you can recharge your phones is vital.
Yeah.
Do not forget about that.
Order your food early.
Yes. So at Disney, you right now, especially, very, very few places do you walk up and order. You have to order on your My Disney Experience app. And so what we end up doing is when we know it's about time to eat, say we're in line for a ride, we get on the app and we order the food. Everybody gets their food ordered, and you place your order. And then once you are there, you hit I'm here, and it's next in line to be prepared. And then it dings you while you're ready. So what you're avoiding is you're no longer standing in line at every restaurant trying to remember what everyone's order is. You're ordering with them right there, using your standing in line time anyway. And you can actually order hours in advance and just choose your window of what time you want to be there. Some places you need to do that. If you want to eat at Woody's Lunchbox in Toy Story Land in Hollywood Studios, that place sells out with early orders in the morning. Like one time we wanted to go there for lunch. It was 11:30 and we're like, oh, let's see what we can do. The next available time was for pickup of food was at like 5:30 in the evening. So if you want to eat there, order early. It might just be a good plan to order early no matter when. Mm-hmm. You could even do that before you leave for the day if you want. Have it ready to go.
Another big thing is the Disney app. Familiarize yourself, understand that app before you go, probably. Understand the zoom in, zoom out, see the wait times.
Yep, so up at the top of the My Disney Experience app, sometimes you'll hear it called MDE, My Disney Experience. It's the Disney World app. Disneyland has one as well. It has a drop menu that will show you wait times for rides. It will show you where the bathrooms are. It will show you where food is, where fuel rod recharging stations are, where everything. You could type in Dole Whip and it will show you where you could buy Dole Whip. Like, it is so important to be able to function with that app. If you have the PhotoPass, it will show you where the PhotoPass photographers are, as well as what rides will give you a PhotoPass. And just know that on that app, there is kind of like that little here button. It's kind of like a circle with a point down in the bottom. When you click on that, it will jump to where you are. And you can even turn on notifications that will tell you, like, when a parade's about to start. It will kind of track your location to say, oh, Jungle Cruise is down to 10-minute wait, kind of idea. So I think that's a vital thing, is knowing the app for sure.
We're almost done, 20 minutes. So one last thing, like if you have an electric car and you're going to park at Disney, make sure to let the people know at parking that's what you're doing. And electric cars, they have like the best parking in all the parks. So they'll take you up to the front if they have availability. They have limited spots.
And you don't have to pay for this Premier parking, and you're actually parking right near the Premier parking.
Right next to Premier.
If you are charging
and even better than that,
car.
if you even tell them that you're an electric one, they'll still park you in the Premier parking lot, even if the stalls are not available.
Yeah, because they don't guarantee whether the stalls are not, and they can't send you to the other side.
You can just say, hey, can we go check? And you'll go over there, and then they put you in that area.
The last thing that I wanted to say about it was dining. If you're considering doing a sit-down dining, one way to get a really good picture in the park is by choosing to do dining right at closing of the park or before the park opens. You can sometimes get early morning entrance, and they'll let you into the park before the park is officially open. It's priceless pictures. You can get pictures in front of the castle with no one else around. It's a really, really good way to get some magical shots, especially in Magic Kingdom or Epcot. I think it's...
You ever heard of somebody getting the dining early and then not using the dining, but just getting into the park early?
You have to secure your reservation with a credit card, and they're going to charge you if you don't show up.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah. Yep. So you definitely want to be on that. Yeah, I think that's it. That's pretty much it. Oh, one thing that we did talk about was Magic Kingdom, the ferry, ferrier versus the monorail. That's a question we get a lot. When you get there, if there's a ferry docked, jump on the ferry.
It's cool.
It's cool, especially if this is your first time to Disney. Get on the ferry, because the ferry is going to take you across the lake that takes you right to the front gate, and it's magical to see the castle in the distance, and you're getting closer, and it just builds that excitement. Where the monorail is, the monorail's cool. Like, if there's not a ferry docked, then get in line and get on the monorail, because it will go somewhat faster. But you kind of miss seeing the castle in the distance. I think there's just a little bit more dreaminess to the start of the day from the ferry.
I think so too.
Yeah. Okay, so these are just some tips that we have. What other tips would you add to this? Love to hear your ideas.
We